Okay, mate, you called another Investec Champions Cup semi-final. You called the unthinkable. You called La Rochelle to beat Leinster, and they did a few years ago. You called Leinster to win, but that wasn't the one, because you know your French teams. You called Bordeaux to knock over Toulouse. Apparently, you also knew that Toulouse were going to be missing 4 or 5 key players. But how do you get it right with these French teams?
I have no idea, but I've made no money out of this amazing run of great predictions in the French when it relates to France in the Champions Cup. So that is a bit of a bummer. But fantastic. I mean, I'm not surprised Bordeaux won. I am very surprised that Northampton won. I did not see that coming. I think you picked them to win by 60 points. If I remember correctly.
I had the score 50 points to Leinster, 20 points to Northampton, and Northampton were lucky to get 20. If you ask me today how I would pick it, I would say 55-15 to Leinster.
Totally.
Anyone who tells me they picked a Northampton win outside of that Northampton
The
squad,
bloody lawyer.
he's talking a lot of shite.
Mate, I think if they play that game another 5 times, Leinster wins 5 times.
Well, they're not playing another 5 times, so that's quite irrelevant. That's all hypothetical.
It is.
But a great call, Bordeaux. Comfortable winners in the end. They have been the form team of the Investec Champions Cup, just in the way they've played. I think Penaud, did he not score 6 tries against the Sharks when they put 66 points past the Galacticos?
Yes, he did.
They've had some big wins.
They've got some players. Maxime Luku has been amazing, mate. How's that freaking long range?
He's no Dupont, but let's be honest.
Mate, who needs Antoine who?
That's the guy that when he went on, no one would mention his name.
Exactly.
When he also had a great match, the last 65 minutes against, 55 minutes against Ireland, when France won in Dublin, Luku came on and played very well. But no one would have said so because the commentators never mentioned his name because he was not Antoine Dupont.
Correct.
But clearly Toulouse do miss Antoine Dupont.
Although, I don't know, Mini Butch played quite well. The Okie looks, he's like Butch's younger brother, Grau or whatever. I thought he was reasonable.
Butchie Grau.
Butchie Grau, yeah. I thought he was good.
Look, it was an incredible occasion. Sold out, 42,000, sold out within 3 hours.
Yeah.
Bordeaux up against Toulouse. They've played 3 times this season, twice in the top 14. They've played once in the semi-final. Bordeaux has won all 3 matches.
Yo.
And last year, Bordeaux lost 59-3 in the Champions Cup final against Toulouse, who did the double.
Incredible.
I think now, Bordeaux, very close favourites to do the double, to win the Champions Cup and to win the top 14. I also just like, the thing about Toulouse is that they're such a class act, but they're quite clinical, where these guys, they're always giving you a chance. They remind me possibly just a stronger version of the Stormers, Bordeaux, in the way they play.
Yeah.
Incredible game breakers, good pack, some wonderful finishes, and as you say, they got Mrs. Penaud out on the win. Jalibert at 10. I like that guy. He's a good player.
A great player.
They've got some good talent, eh?
Great players. I think between Penaud, Biel Biarri.
He's a quality player.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's their Kudley.
Yeah, mate, and they had freaking Ange Capuoso. They had some great, I mean, so that's Toulouse, but I'm saying the quality of players in that match, that really was close to test caliber. You look at some of those guys.
Say that right winger's name again, the boy from Italy.
Angela Capuoso.
I like it. I like the way you pronounce those ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Just listening here, people have been asking about Ricky, and I've tried to explain to them he was deported.
Mate, Ricky lost his edge.
Ricky lost everything, man. Yeah. Eh? He was asked to say Walmart, and it was over.
He was a victim of Cinco de Porto. He's gold.
Ricky is no more.
He's gold, they say. He's gold.
We tried to bring Ricky back. Some guy came in here sounding Portuguese. We had to let him go.
Get out!
It's not to die.
Did you come here to die?
Come yesterday. I want some tamash. Okay. But looking at a wonderful weekend of EPCR Challenge Cup.
Yes.
Champions Cup. Johan van Graan, he got the win with
Brilliant.
Bath. And you said last week, this will be an interesting match. Team that's played 15, 1, 13 in the Premiership up against a team that technically is 9th or 10th in the URC. Well, that's how it played out.
Exactly, mate.
The top team in England smashed a team that has given a lot of our teams trouble in Edinburgh.
Yeah. No, Johan's done great things at Bath. Like I always say, I think he is a student of the data, the rugby data. He knows what does and doesn't work. And he takes the shortest route to victory, and he's got that team playing some fantastic, effective rugby, powerful, a hard team to stop. So quite keen to see how it goes in the final against Lyon.
Tommy du Toit coming off the bench again. He's really reveled there. A nice little South African influence. But Johan van Graan, I had a wonderful chat to Heineke Meyer in the build-up to the game. And I didn't know this, that Johan van Graan was the Bulls' technical advisor as a 16-year-old.
Wow.
Heineke brought him in from during his school days. He's Baron van Graan's son. He said, my son's very astute with analysis. He loves the game. Heineke, let's see what he's got to offer. Said this kid was incredible. He got to work with Donnie Rousseau, Bucky's Werther, Victor Matfield at a young age. Mornay Steyn and Farida Priya, the king of nines, the general playmaker. He said, and then he basically took him to the Boks with him. I think the guy was 29 or 30 as his attack coach and his technical analyst. People were like, this is crazy. He won a World Cup bronze. Could so easily have been in that final.
True.
That thrilling match against the All Blacks in the semi-final. Off he went to Munster, replaced Rassie and Jacques, spent 5 years there, did well with them, didn't quite get silverware, and really has transformed and turned Bath around. Bath remind me so much of Western Province, the Rec Newlands, like the old traditional powerhouse, have really struggled in the professional age, competing against new money, competing against the Toulouses, the Leinsters of the world. And for him to restore that pride, to kind of play the way he's playing and to immerse himself in that culture has just been outstanding. So we do have a South African presence in Cardiff. Johan van Graan's Bath will be playing there. Montpellier, Jake White's Montpellier, they won the Challenge Cup. We claimed it as a South African win. When Toulon was 7 South Africans won it, we claimed it as a South African win. But in that final, there won't be too many South Africans except for Trockie, Northampton.
Yes.
Janu Augustus.
Yeah, he was good. He was good.
Does he get your Stecco power play of the week?
Well, I mean, one of Freeman's tries came from via Trockie, and I thought he was very solid. I think he was probably sort of overshadowed by Pollock. I think Pollock had a massive game, and I think he's got a very bright future. But Trockie's been there the whole season, the whole campaign, so maybe he's saving his best for the final. I don't know, but you could see the emotion on his face after they won. Power carrier, good hands. So he's in the mix, definitely.
With a name like Pollock, you can't go wrong.
Exactly, mate.
People ask me, where's this kid been? Well, having his 18th about a year ago.
Yeah,
I think he's
at
just
school.
turned. Yeah, at school. He's just turned 20. Outstanding.
Yeah.
His Johnny Optus stats were just off the
I saw
charts.
that.
I think what is it, 21 tackles,
and carries. Yeah.
carries, line breaks.
Yeah.
And he's got a great attitude, eh?
Fantastic.
He's definitely up there with our Stecco power play. Also Stecco, shaping the future. He's a kid, shaping the future. Augustus was one of the greats of the past in under 20.
Yep.
Never quite kicked on. I was one of those that thought, would he make it at Northampton or not? He has. He's been outstanding. He's now going to Ulster, and apparently he's going to be on something like 8 or 9 million rand a year, 400,000 pounds. So an investment for Northampton, but an investment for Trockie, who left Cape Town, took himself out of his comfort zone, and has done brilliantly.
Exceptionally well.
And if you think how Jasper Wiese came through, it was consistency in the Premiership.
Yep.
In Europe, it basically kicked down that door for Rassie to say, pick me another exceptional match in the final on the weekend of the 23rd and 24th of May. And it just may be that he sneaks in through the back door and then gets a chance with the Springboks.
Absolutely.
But he can't do more than he's doing at the moment. I mean,
Yes.
he's playing well for Northampton Saints. Oh, when the Saints come marching in. Oh, when the Saints come marching in. Yeah!
He's doing great things, mate. It's fantastic to see.
Welcome to Kaapstad.
Is that your Stecco power play of the week?
No, it's not. Okay.
You just talked him up now.
I talked him up, but there was another guy from Cape Town doing his thing in Japan. Cheslin Colby.
Ach, no.
28 points. One incredible solo try. It looked like he was playing touch with you at Hammies.
Mate,
looking
he
at the
was.
oldies.
He
saying,
was
I'll
playing
go
touch.
left, I'll go right, I'll just go
Oh.
straight through and score. So, Cheslin Colby's...
You're just not doing this brand any justice here, mate. You cannot have a guy from Japan as your Stecco power play.
And Super Rugby, Pacific.
Who have you got there, mate?
Who have I got there?
Yeah.
I've got a guy who scored a few tries, mate.
Macca Springer.
Hey, He hasn't scored for a while,
Yeah,
eh?
we put the mockers on him,
Hey, we
mate.
put the-
Macca Springer.
Artie Severe's incredible solo
Mate,
try.
He's starting to look his age, though.
Hey, everyone,
I don't think he can touch his toes
Have you
anymore.
ever seen a player like this? Well, we have.
Yes, mate, we have.
Let's take them back to the Richie McCaw, Kieran Reid, Jerome Kainu days. And he
Correct.
wouldn't make that starting lineup.
No, he wouldn't.
But he would be incredible off the bench. He'd be his own bomb squad.
Incredible.
But he's done very well. I mean, he's leading from the front. They should get a playoff now. Pacifica.
Yeah.
Playing out in North
Yes.
Harbour, bro. In front of the Sappers.
So who's your Stecco power play moment?
So my Stecco power play moment has to come from Troki Augustus offload that he made. He broke 3 tackles, offload to your man Tommy Freeman, scored one of his 3 tries, and you called it early in the season. You said, "Watch that Northampton and England winner. I like him."
This oak is for real.
Tommy Freeman.
He's just a supersized James O'Connor.
He's good though,
He's
and he
proper.
plays with a smile on his face.
No, this guy's going all the way. Then England have got a nice young crop of guys coming through here that they can really use as a base for the next gen team, because between him, Finn Smith and Pollock, they've got 3 guys that break the mold in terms of the English psyche, you know, the sort of the being polite and from the posh schools and having this, you know, I don't know. The English rugby culture is quite self-deprecating in a way. And
Guaranteed they'll stuff it up. The
they're
media
not
will
brash.
stuff it up for
If
them.
they
mate,
just
yeah.
hook their wagon to these 3 kids who don't care about anybody, don't care about your background, they've got no respect for nobody. These 3 kids can do great things for them. So I hope they do that. I hope they give these guys license to thrill.
And Freeman also very good when the Bulls got beaten by Northampton in league play at Loftus earlier this year. Now again, the thing there to win the double is it takes a team just loaded with depth. We saw that with Toulon, with Saracens. I think Leinster may have done it pre the URC when it was still Pro 12 or Pro 14. And obviously Toulouse, they've done it twice to win their domestic competition and win something in Europe. Northampton are 10th or 8th out of 10 on the table.
Okay.
But they've had an incredible run in the Champions Cup. Is it a case of you got to pick and choose? You got to say, if you're not one of those squads that have got this amazing depth, like Edinburgh decided we're going for the Challenge Cup. Maybe we don't make it in the URC. The Bulls decided it's the URC. It's not Europe. Northampton, a classic example of they picked their competition and they went with it. And they're now in the final, a stunning victory.
I think you have to, mate. I mean, let's take I know we don't want to talk about losers, but I'm going to have to mention Leinster here. They've got this massive squad, arguably the best depth in the world, and they got as far as Northampton. And they haven't won the URC yet. So, you know, that's the club that's got blessed with the most resources, I would say, between them and Toulouse in terms of player personnel. So you've got to look at that and be like, listen, you can't battle on both fronts. What you're doing there is you're spreading your resources and you're risking having nothing at the end of it. I think you do have to focus on one thing, and something else has to play second fiddle, and you have to decide what's the most important to you. When I say play second fiddle, I don't mean you have a disregard for it, but your planning is around having the best players at their peak at the right moments in whichever competition you choose. I think that's the only way. And I think you also, long-term, sustainability-wise, and this is what I like about what Leinster has done, is when you send your academy guys overseas to play some games, or you put those guys in a position where they're going to get some real bullets flying over their heads, that's how you grow them to come through quickly and potentially add value to the main squad in years to come. So if you're constantly playing your best team every week, that pathway isn't there. So picking a competition to try and win and having something that is almost a development / we're going to do our best but not with our foot flat on the gas pedal, I think is good for the short and the long term.
All right, well, those were your Stecco moments. Troki Augustus, do we agree?
No, I'm taking Luku. I'm taking that penalty, mate. I thought it was an absolute beaut.
Well, we're shipping our 2 generators, one to France. Is it Northampton or is it Ulster? Do we send it to Belfast?
I don't know, mate.
Maybe we take them both to Cardiff.
That's the way to do it.
Stecco, ship them to Cardiff and we'll hand them over to these 2 guys. Our Stecco, power play, sustainability, taking back your poor. We need more poor, Scotty.
Love it.
But we love the association with us. I love the generators they gave out. There's still someone in KZN who doesn't use ChatGPT,
At all.
she uses the generator.
Correct.
Last little word on the Champions Cup before we get to URC and a few other
Are we going
things.
to talk about Jacques taking...
This is where I'm going, my man. This is where I'm
That's
going.
where we might be going.
Jacques Nienaber. Apparently he coaches Leinster now.
Yeah, now he's responsible for
Yeah.
results.
So, didn't concede a point in the most incredible quarterfinals, semi-finals. Reminding me a lot of that, how when the All Blacks used to go on those runs in World Cups. And then just came up against a team that just was switched on for 80 minutes. Got a great start. Teams don't score 37 points comfortably against a Jacques Nienaber coached team. They don't miss 41 tackles. They miss 30% of their tackles. That's not a defensive structure issue. That is players just not being switched on for the day. Did they get ahead of themselves, firstly? And secondly, 49th minute, they introduced their best player, Geordie Barrett, because the Irish Rugby Union says if your Irish internationals are fit, you do not play your foreign-based player. He plays off the bench, and that's why Jacques Snyman plays so many games off the bench. Explain it to me.
So there's a guy I follow on Twitter, Pseudo Moi, and he summed it up perfectly. He says Jacques Nienaber's plan on defense works perfectly with South Africans because those guys will run through brick walls for you. But when you take that plan to Ireland, it can only work if the Irish want to tackle, want to hit, want to clean the breakdown, want to scramble on D. All of those things have to be there. It's not the plan that is the problem. It's the execution. It's the cattle that he's using there. And those guys, I think, on the day let themselves down badly. I do think Leinster, like I said, if they played 5 more times, they'd win 5 more times. They had a bad day at the office. Coincidentally, they seem to have bad days at the office when it counts the most. So that's definitely something that needs to be addressed. But there were a few calls and a few bounces that didn't go their way. Northampton played like it was their final. I have a feeling it was their final. I don't think they'll win this thing at the end. And
you heard it here first.
So, yeah, bad day at the office for Leinster, but I definitely don't think you can blame Jacques for that. If anything, whatever mandate Jacques has there is given to him by Leo Cullen and the Leinster heavies. So,
well, you've now
this
got
guy's won 2 World Cups in a row.
You've now got Leinster 7 campaigns, 21 Irish internationals, the best pathway in Ireland, Black Rock College, one of the great institutions in terms of schools that brings it through. Jacques on his way back. There's a plane flying over Cape Town. It could be Jacques Nienaber coming to visit Rassie.
Yeah.
And then the importing of a Geordie Barrett, an Jacques Snyman, that French prop, what's his name?
Oh, yes, I know what you mean.
The good one.
Slimani,
like salami. Slimani.
Yeah. He's got a great name for Ozempic, mate.
And you still fail. Leo Cullen says, I'm the guy to take you forward. Any other, if this was football, he'd be long gone. It's like you can't keep on losing finals and playoff games and saying, I'm thereabouts. Doesn't matter what you do in the league. They have to win the URC now.
Have to.
To take something from
mate.
This season. But over and above that, there was something that was taken away in their aura that South African teams, a Sharks, a Bulls, or a Stormers would think, why can't we go and win there?
Totally.
When Northampton could.
Totally.
And that will play on the psyche of the Andrew Porters of the world. Because he's not chasing the first star, he's chasing the first URC, mate.
Correct. Exactly. Now, a lot of pressure on Leo Cullen and Leinster in general to perform now. Very, very keen to see how they respond to this loss. I think it will galvanize them, and I think they will be more dangerous now in the URC than they would have been if they'd won that match and gone to the final. So, holding thumbs.
All right, well, it's back to URC. We are going to be talking a bit about the Stormers. Obviously, they're going to pump the Dragons in Cape Town. Damian Willems's 100th game. Can you believe that kid has played 100 matches for the Stormers?
Insane.
He's won 2 World Cups already, and I think he spent about 2 years on the sideline.
What's left to do, mate?
Go to France.
With the rest.
Go to France. But if we look at obviously URC weekend against 4 South African teams at home, I've got 4 South African teams to win quite comfortably.
Same.
Consolidate the position, the Bulls and the Sharks in the top 4, and the Stormers to kind of like get to that 5th position or be there and thereabouts.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind Munster and Ulster, one of the two will cancel each other out. And the beauty of this weekend is it's a lot of the teams that are bunched together between 5th and 10th that are playing each other. So someone has to not get points. And I think that serves the South African teams well. The Stormers, also, they couldn't have picked a better opponent. The team that's 16th and has won 1 game this season. With the greatest respect to the Dragons from Newport, from Rodney Parade. This isn't Rodney Parade. And the Stormers should stick them away comfortably by 30 points. I'm not expecting a performance like we saw against Benetton.
Sure.
It's going to be one of those, I think, messy games. But I think the Stormers too much class, and they will pound them. I'm already getting my prediction out there. The Stormers will win this game 43-13.
Wow, that's a great call.
Thank you, mate.
I like that. 30 points again, mate. That is a kiss of death, though. 30 points again. Mate,
Thank
I
you,
don't know.
mate.
I think it might be more than that, mate.
Well, give me a score.
I'm going to say, mate, that the Dragons don't score more than 8 points. They don't score more than 8 points, mate. And the Stormers, I'm going to go with you, 43.
43-8, 43-13.
Yeah.
That's wonderful, mate.
Yeah.
Okay, the Bulls. They're
What
up against?
about them, mate? They're playing Cardiff.
They're on
in
the charge.
Pretoria. They're on the charge, mate.
Be a tougher one.
Yeah.
35-25 to the Bulls.
Yeah, Cardiff is actually a very good team. Underrated, but I don't think they like the big shiny thing in the sky, and they won't like the high altitude. So I think they do carve the Bulls a bit. I think it'll be a bit of a shootout, but I think the Bulls win that. I'm going to give the Bulls 10 points in that one. So I'm going to say 35-25.
That's what I just said.
No, 30-20. Let's go 30-20. 30-20. Not
Okay,
not
you know what?
the high
I'll adjust mine to 40-25 and give it to them by 15.
Okay, fine.
Then
fine.
you can have your 35-25.
35-25. Did you say 35-25?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clearly you're not listening
I'm
again.
not listening, mate.
It is a podcast. Both of us have to talk. So,
What's next? Ospreys, Sharks, Friday night.
Sharks, Jesus.
Oh, who
Be
knows
messy.
what's gonna happen
No, it'll
there,
be
mate.
messy. 29-17. One of those cuck games again in Durban.
What, they're winning in the last 20?
I don't know, Wiki, when they win it. They'll win it, but it's messy.
Yeah.
I don't know with that team at the moment, hey?
Yeah.
I
Ospreys.
can't even scream out, we are black, we are white, we are dynamite, because it's like they blow themselves up before kickoff.
It's true. It's true. Ospreys are 11th on the log. Sharks back home. I'm going to say the Sharks win this one 29-21.
Are you taking my scores every
29-21.
time?
29-21 is what
You
I'm
look-
saying. What did you call?
You're not asking what I call, man. 29-17, I don't even have to think about it. Eh? You're a bit
29-21,
distracted.
let's
You're a
go.
bit distracted, eh?
Slightly,
I know.
mate.
The sun's actually in my eyes, the glare. It's a
Mate.
magnificent day in Cape Town in this first week of May. It's just fabulous weather. We're out on the balcony. Zels busy building us a studio. It's taking a while, Zels. No one's cutting their lawn today. No one's got the angle grind out. And for now, the dogs aren't barking. The cats are inside. And still Zels is distracted.
I'm not distracted at all, mate. The cats are outside.
Could be worse. You could be coaching the Border Bulldogs in the SA
Oof,
Cup,
mate,
mate.
that was a bit of a
But let's
shocker.
go back to the Lions, your team.
Lions Scarlet, Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon, you know, does anyone really want to play rugby on a Sunday afternoon in South Africa? I don't know, but I'm going to give that one to them 38-28. 10 points. You know, typical Lions. They'll score some great tries, and then they'll just give up some easy tries. But when you've got four Welsh teams coming here.
Yeah, all four.
Hey,
Happy days, mate.
por favor.
Happy
When you got
days.
4 Welsh teams coming in with the current state of Welsh rugby, and look, they've had a couple of good results at home.
Yeah.
But you got to back the South African teams to win all 4 and consolidate those positions. And the Vodacom URC is where we're coming for you. Leinster, we're coming for you. We're coming to Dublin to take it all.
Okay.
So,
I think the Lions will carve them up. Okay. I think they're going to carve them up on the high felt. Welsh team on the high felt, under the bright lights. I think that the Lions win this one 38-27.
that's a good one. 11 points and I had 10 points, so it's close. The game I'm looking forward to, and it's not in the SA Cup, you can follow SA Rugby Magazine's logs on the Keo blog, the newsletter that gets compiled so brilliantly by Esther Joubert. That goes out, the previews go out before kickoff. It's got every log that's played for in the big leagues, including Japan League One, where all our Springboks are playing. The World Cup winners, Colby, Marks, Lut, De Jager.
Indeed, mate.
And
Jesse Creel,
Yeah, Jesse Creel, Damien. Deande.
Smith?
Damien Deande.
David Dianda,
No, it's the Spanish guy, the footballer. He's
Deande.
Deande.
Ayande.
He's Ayande, but we call him Dialende because that's how he says it. But
Right.
it's Ayande over there.
Okay.
And Franco Mostert, so it's obviously playing there.
Yeah.
But the one there, Lut De Jager, is under the radar. Eh? No one's really talking
Could be
about
answer.
it. Yeah, well, he's been out there in the news and he
Been
wants to
injured.
stay, then he wants to come back. But Lut De Jager,
mate. What a guy.
and the way he's just made his comeback so quietly, and he's a great lock forward. It just ups those stakes. So you can read it all there. The match that's interested me the most is the 28th of June in Cape Town.
The Barbarians.
It's the Barbarians, the famed Barbarians Football Club, up against the Springboks.
Why are you so excited about
Because
this?
I love the Barbarians as a concept, okay? And it only dawned on me the other day that the last time the Springboks beat them, I happened to be with the Springboks as
Really?
the communications manager. It was in Cardiff in 2000. And the score was 41-31. Do you recall that game?
I do actually. I don't remember the game like you will, but I remember that score and I remember that.
I want to
that game.
I have to call this up for you because it's in my head, but I'll probably miss one or two of the reserves of who we actually played against that day. Now, bear in
still
mind,
have that game on a VHS tape.
bear in mind that they were coach managed basically by John Hart and Rod McQueen. That day, Harry Fulham was in charge of our side with Marquis, Andre Markgraf. We had a wonderful evening at the Walkabout in Cardiff that night. It was fantastic. That's when Marquis still thought that Flecky's mate, Malcolm O'Kelly, was playing for UCT Thirds.
Yes, okay.
Called him over and said, yeah, get your mate to play some rugby. Look at the size of him.
We did.
We did. We played against him now, Marquis. That's Malcolm O'Kelly.
Yeah.
However, the team that played that day, think of this. The Barbarians are Christian Cullen, fullback. Win, Matt Burke. Centres, Brian O'Driscoll, Daniel Herbert.
Yo.
Win, Chris Latham. Fly off, Carlos Spencer. Scrum off, Augustine Peugeot. Number 8, Ron Cribb, All Black. Lawrence Dallaglio, as Bullet would say, Dallaglio. Jim Williams from Australia. David Giffen, Australia. Norm Maxwell, New Zealand. Mauricio Riagardo, Argentina. Narka Drotska, Richard Harry. Their replacements, the Cloesi. Mark Hammett, Malcolm O'Kelly, Andy Ward, Byron Keller, Neil Jenkins, and Ian Balshaw. That is a star-studded Barbarians team. Those guys are on top of their game back in the day. We went there to salvage something from this tour. Obviously, we had now lost to England, and within 31 minutes, it was 31-12 to the Barbarians.
Didn't Balshaw come off the bench and score in this game?
But Cullen scored that. Latham, they counter-attacked. Latham made the great break,
Latham
the cross kick.
so good.
The Millennium Stadium, the Principality just looked like a mud bath that day. And I just looked at Harry and Marquis and thought, the Barbarians are going to put 60 points past us today. It was just frightening. Now you think about the side that we picked. Huffy at fullback, Brayton and Chester on the wings, Flecky and Mulder in the centres, Monty at 10, Hurst at 9, Voss, Venter, Krieger, Andrews, Albert van der Berg, Willie Meyer, John Smith, and Robbie Kempson. Not a bad side with Charles Marais, Ollie, AJ, Bros, Dan van Sel, Grant Estrays, and Stefan de Blanche to come off the bench. Good Springbok side. And we just kind of went tight. We went tight, started playing them with the forwards, but Brady got 3 tries, Chester got 2, Ollie Roo got the other one, Monty kicked 4 conversions, playing the fly with that shock blonde hair. Just was outstanding again, and we turned it around to get to 31 all, much to the dismay of the crowd, okay? They just wanted the Barbars to win, and then we scored 38-31, and there was about 2 minutes to go, and the officials were doing everything to get the romantic ending, 38 all, and we got given a penalty 40 meters out. And there's our plane, Boks by 10.
Yeah.
Boks by 10, that's what it was, 41-31.
Look what you did, mate.
Boks by 10.
Yeah.
And Harry, who absolutely hated winning by penalties, hated kicking, he just wanted to play ball in hand. He screamed into that mic, tell them to take the points. Bram van Straten nails that thing. The crowd booed. We were like, we don't care, man. 41-31, we won that game. We took a penalty to beat that Barbarian side, star-studded Barbarian side. Unbeknownst to me, we actually hadn't beaten them again. We lost. Nick Mallett coached the side in 2010, 26-20 at Twickenham. And we drew 31 all. I think Alistair Couture was the coach at the Wembley Stadium. 2016. So they've won 4, we won 3, and there's been 1 draw. But Nick Mallett has coached a Barbarians team to beat the Springboks, and he's coached a Barbarians team for only the second time ever to beat the All Blacks. 25-18 at Twickenham. Brian Abana scored 3 tries. That day they picked 6 All Blacks, 6 Boks, 5 All Blacks, 3 Wallabies. I think there was 1 guy from Wales in that made it British, okay? And it was a good All Black side led by Richie McCaw. Had some big names in it. 25-18. So that's why I love the Barbarians. And that game when they beat us, Anton van Sale, who had left Western Province to go play at Stade Francais, he was the player of the match.
Worms, sure.
Yeah, so that's why I love them.
Right.
How do you think about that, eh?
Mate, you mentioned Nick Mallett in that monologue. Nick Mallett, Nick Mallett was on Rassie's show on this podcast recently, and he was talking about the famous touch rugby game between the Springbok management and the media. Now, when you told me that story, you said you crash tackled Nick Mallett at the event. When I watched the podcast, Nick was telling everybody that he actually just sent you sprawling. What actually happened?
We were all watching, and we thought this is like a touch rugby game that was going to get played. I think Mark Hain got your biggest brunt, or whatever the right word is.
But I think Mark had written something in which I didn't really like. You know, he obviously touched with one hand. I said, no. As he tried to dummy and go for outside gap or something. And
well, okay, there's got to be context to this. It was Fremantle in Perth. The year was 1998. The Boks were on fire. That was the test match at the Boks, won 14-30. Nick was on fire. Had a love-hate relation with the media. One day he'd love us. Next day he'd just want to mood us. Same with the Boks.
Yeah.
And we challenged, I led the chorus of, Nick, come on, let's play a game of touch, man, against the management. You know,
Who's
Nick,
in the management?
It's the management. It doesn't matter. They had Nick Mallett. After that, it didn't matter, okay? Because he could have played the management with our team and we probably would have won.
Yeah.
And he was up for it. But we didn't know he was going to bring the whole squad out to watch this entertainment. There's a big park opposite the hotel we were staying in.
Yeah.
The next minute we looked up, there was all the Boks sitting there, rassing them, and James Dalton leading the choruses. And Mike Greenwood was playing for us, Andrew Koopman, the late Freddie Hendricks, Gavin Rich.
So we're all in tackies or bare feet here. Nobody's got boots.
Well, we've got kind of like sneakers on. Okay,
Yeah.
I think they came dressed in their number ones.
Did anybody have a mouth guard?
And a scrum cap. Okay, so it started off with Gav doing his Buddha haka to Nick, which was just amazing. Nick just stared him down, nearly headbutted him. And we were going to play 6-touch. Then we had to explain to the media what 6-touch was, and Nick eventually said, "Play 3-touch, and let's just get on with that."
Yeah.
So it's one point for a touchdown. So they beat us 17-2.
Close game, mate. You almost had them, mate.
But it wasn't 3-touch. It was 2-touch for Nick because he had both paws on you. So he just basically crunched me straight up. He crunched Mike Greenway straight up, and then he started picking off every media guy. But every time
I love it.
I had the ball, I just saw this big beaming face of Nick. He just came in and smashed me.
Hunting.
It's like he did when he coached me at under 15 level when I was at Fairmont and did all our PE classes.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Still love running next to us and clapping us. So it was great fun. But we were absolutely humiliated, embarrassed, destroyed. The Boks were cheering. It felt like we were playing in a World Cup final, but get in, decimated. And Nick was on fire. Whether it was 17-2 or 5-all, it's that guy so competitive.
Yeah.
This was personal. Okay?
Yeah.
He cleaned us up. And Clinton van den Berg was working for the Sunday Times. He's now at Supersport.
Yes.
His thing was like, and it was in the day where Clinton was carrying a little bit of weight. He's now an Adonis. I mean, he's an ultra marathon athlete.
Lean and mean.
Oh, he's lean and mean.
Yeah.
Good looking guy,
Yeah.
beautiful wife,
Yeah.
lovely kids.
Yeah.
But back in the day, he was a young pup who's carrying a bit of weight, and he was new on the beat, and he said to Nick, come guys, can we have a group photo? So we took the group photo, and he said, hey, what happens next? And Nick said, you get to the fucking gym and you lose some weight. Okay, look at you. Look at your age. And he barked those orders, and Clinton, he transformed him. Clinton is like a machine now, a running machine.
Yes.
So that's part one of the story.
Okay.
There's a part two.
Okay.
Shut me up if I'm talking too much.
No, go,
And
mate.
that was 2 years later.
Yeah.
We would go on a 3-week tour to...
So who was the ref in this first touch?
No, Nick.
I've started to connect the dots
And
here.
no one was going to argue with him. But they just played structure against us.
Okay.
We were running around like just lunatics.
Yeah.
Dazzling trying to do the Belleville South side steps. Didn't work. Okay. The structured attack, defensive
that
attack.
just came up.
Turn us over. And he would... He doesn't take shit. He's like... Kevin Stevenson, stay on the wing. You stay in there. You stay.
Get out of the way.
No, this guy he's different level, okay? And in any case, so now we go to the Colonial Stadium. We play in the Mandela Plate against Australia. We lose 44-23. We then got to go to play New Zealand in Christchurch. We lose 25-12. And we come back, we play Australia in Sydney, and we lose 26-6. That was the tour. But we didn't go straight to New Zealand. We spent 10 days on the Australian Sunshine Gold Coast at Stratham Island. It was bliss.
Okay.
Played tennis every night under the lights. So each had our own little chalets. And they had a wonderful rugby field that they had prepared for the Boks. And so we had a rematch 2 years later. Then I asked Rassie if he would referee.
Okay.
But for some conditions, like you got to call everything against Nick.
Yes.
And we asked Nick to kind of basically play us 3 against 10. But half your team in terms of who you put in on.
Yeah.
Come on, show us some, just show us some charity. Never, said Nick. But Rassie basically blew them out the game. Every time he called back a forward pass, it was a touch. Nick was livid, gave fuming. And it got down to, I think it was 8-8 or 9-9. And he wasn't going to settle for a draw. He had to play for the win. And eventually, Rassie couldn't keep us in the game anymore. It's like, I can't keep on calling touches when you guys are so far off the pace. I can't say, touch, where? He's not even there. And when you guys do get an overlap, one of your oaks knocked the ball on. But Rassie was just laughing. And Nick was just getting furious. But eventually, Nick got the short pop pass, ran the perfect line through us. And we didn't even bother chasing him. But he turned around and he just gave us the old Nick Mallett salute. What are you saying now? He just gave it to us like, F you guys. What do you say now? And some of the oaks like, Nick, but it's like, I love that guy. I mean, he was so competitive.
Right.
And
that's how you do it.
And it was just, it's just brilliant. And it was still in the days where I think like there was fun things to do on tour, and you get to stay with the blokes for 10 days, away from the glare of the public and all that kind of thing. So,
mate, you scored 9 tries. It's not bad.
Well, yeah, I think
it's not bad.
I think we were credited with 9 tries. I think Rassie was also keeping score for us. So it may have been 3, but then it's like, what's that score? 8-6. How did they get to 6? So that's so I have a love for the Barbarians because of those games.
Yes.
But then also a love for that Springbok squad under Mallett. Cora won the first one. They won 16 in a row. Rassie played 32 of the 36 test matches that Mallett coached. Yeah. It was a good group of players, and we had a lot of fun there as journalists, touring with them as well. And the thing about a guy like Mallett, he didn't take any shit, and if he felt you were on par with what you wrote, he'd acknowledge it. If not, he'd come find you. Okay. And that '99 World Cup, I said that they would lose to England in the quarterfinal. Emphatically, I had England to win by 15 points before the days of Boks by 10, and they won 44-21. The big Nienaber 5 drop goals. And Nick sought me out after the press conference. Told Alex Bruin, the media guy, bring him through. Just Nick and I at the bottom of the Stade de France. He's like, poke him in the chest. What do you say now? What do you say now? So I said, congratulations. He said, and? I said, sorry. He said, you thought Mallett would lose. And I said, I did. What do you say now? I said, sorry. He said, great. Have a beer with me at the hotel. Wonderful.
To be fair, mate, Mallett thought he would lose in the game in, what was it, Dunedin? What was it? Which was the one with
Huffy and
Dave van Oostelen. Yeah, the 28-0.
28-0. And then, the story is that Mark Angelo got quite upset because Nick on his thing had written
a prediction
35-28 to the All Blacks.
Yeah.
So Nick's response was, I gave them 28.
Exactly.
They got
didn't score points.
They got naught. So, he's just a wonderful character. And I actually watched that podcast because someone sent me a thing and said, hey, you got to mention with Nick and Rassie. Then you always wonder what kind of mention. No, it's a fun mention. And it was great to see those two guys chatting.
Yeah.
2 of the great minds in South African rugby. The 2 most successful coaches in the context of winning percentages. Nick, a World Cup bronze with Rassie in his squad. The fact that he offered Rassie the captaincy, Rassie said no at the time. He couldn't believe it. Obviously, Jake White has won a World Cup as well, and Jacques Nienaber has won a World Cup. But those 2 guys, and like they said, they've sparred in the past. They've had a few words in the media with each other. But it wouldn't be South African rugby if it didn't happen.
100%.
We've all had words with each other.
100%. And that, we were watching that Australian podcast where they were interviewing, I think it was Ashley Cooper and the guys interviewing some of the Western Force players, Ben Donaldson, Carlo Tizzano. and we had a bit of a conversation about it. I just said, what I love most about Australian rugby is their banter and their vibe about the sport, the way that they can take the piss out of each other and everyone just moves on. And I think what you just said now about how South African rugby is obviously very different here. You have to watch your P's and Q's because people hang on every word you say and they take it very personally. So just a completely different landscape between the two countries.
Yeah, and I mean, it was interesting listening to the Rassie Nick pod, because when Rassie spoke about the stronger together, the together being the actual media and the team more so than the supporters would come in. But that, why are we always divided? Why are we always apart? I think it was just a different era in South African rugby. It was very provincially orientated. I remember saying to him, I've chosen Skinstad, you don't play for the Stormers. He arrived there 10 years too late. We had some great times, but he knew I was always going to back Skinstad over him, rightly or wrongly. George van Eck was backing him over Skinstad. The guy, in, I think it could have been Morris Gilbert, or I think Quintus was gone, was when Brendan Alley come on the scene. They were just backing everything Bulls. And Peter Kruger would just take anything you get for the Lions. Like, it's kind of how we worked. It's like Rassie said, it was, look at the Bok 15, it's like, okay, who's not there from the province? You're right. And the audience, you're right too.
Yeah.
But it was really a cool time. Social media wasn't around. You could hang with the players. What happened off the field stayed off the field.
Yeah.
You wrote about what happened on the field. And they were wonderful characters. And I think what's been cool about the Rassie podcasting is you've seen that character come to the fore that everyone knows. The guy was the player. You're not seeing a guy on social media in arguments with people at 3 a.m, having fights, defending his own sanity, or he believes the sanity of the Boks. You are just seeing rugby conversation, and we don't do enough of that in this country.
Totally.
So I look at the English, the Aussies and the Kiwis, the old players, and they banter and they tell their war stories, and it's great. It makes for great theatre. I mean, we watched that potty with Christian Cullen. It was just fantastic. Because you don't see him just as the guy who scored all those tries.
Correct.
And the insights that they give you. So I think Rassie's got a really cool thing going there. He's had some great guests. Don Heeman I loved that potty. But just to see him and Nick Mallett, because Nick's voice is so influential in this country.
Yeah.
He has achieved everything. He's done it locally and internationally. And we need that voice in our game. And we need him and the Springbok coach and the director of rugby to be enjoying each other's company, whether they have different opinions or different viewpoints.
Get the best out of both.
Yeah, I mean, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I mean, like, I'm a huge Nick Mallett fan. I love the fact that what you see is what you get. And obviously, when it comes to Rassie, absolute technical guru. So lots to learn from both of those guys from a coaching perspective. One guy about leadership, I suppose, and being true to who you are and how you lead men that way, I suppose. And then the other guy just technically understanding the game, his approach to analysis and all that sort of stuff. So to watch the two of those guys recall their time that they spent together outside of the coach-coach relationship. Now you've got coach-player, and a great time in Springbok history that was. Great winning record, some beautiful games in that period. And just fabulous. I really enjoyed it.
Well, you talk about that period and all that, and you guys at SA Rugby Magazine, congratulations. 30 years of bringing out a print publication since 1995. One of your consulting editors, Simon Borchardt, has been at the heart of that for 20 plus years. I see you gave him a lot of editorial say in this last one. You basically said
we didn't give him enough. He deserves more.
Yeah,
mate.
edit the publication. Yeah. But a wonderful celebration of 30 years. And you also see where our highs were there and where those darker days were. For the column that you guys asked me to write, you said pick 30 of your most memorable. So it's not the best. It's not the most significant. It's 30 of the most memorable that I felt over the 30-year period of being at the games, reporting, writing on the Boks. And it's not just when the Boks win.
Yeah.
And so I listed that 30. I used to put together a wonderful thing on the site, on the Keo site, with some video clips in between that, and I sent it out to a few people, and I watched it last night, just some of the highlights of those matches. Insane. And yes, it was just insane what good teams we had, what great players we've had. Yeah. And the 52-10 win, Nick's mighty Mallett's team in Paris when he retired, most of that French side, and just seeing a youthful Nick just belting it out in French, okay? And fluent in French. Obviously fluent in English, became fluent in Italian. Just wonderful confidence. And he was 41 years old as a Bok coach, and we forget that.
Spring chicken, mate.
Spring chicken, yeah. So
Sure.
And then someone sent me a thing saying, okay, you've given the 30 in chronological order. What are your 3 best? I'm going to give my 3 best, and then you can... I don't want 30 from you.
Good luck with that, mate.
Just 3. So, in order, I think the greatest test I've experienced, occasion, intensity, opposition, 29-28, the Boks World Cup quarterfinal against France. What a test match. I mean, I've watched that thing a couple of times, and I still feel anxious near the end, even though I know Faf's going to rip that ball. Then the 27-21, Nick Mallett's 99 side. To be at Twickenham on that day, to watch 100 minutes of its most incredible footy, and to see the most crazy thing of the Larkham drop goal, the Matt Burke penalty at the end, the Nienaber 80th minute, that was just special. Those are 2 of my 3. I'll get to my 3rd one. I want to hear what your 3 are.
So I'm just going to go on basic. When you say your top 30, it's the emotional connection you have with those games. So winning that 1995 World Cup final, and being in Cape Town, and just the absolute party that broke out after that was just incredible. That's got to be my top 3. Yanni de Beer's drop goal, bonanza in the quarterfinal against England. Just that very, very special game, 1999. And then my 3rd one, sure, it's hard to pick one. That 36-0 demolition of England in the World Cup was amazing. The big wins against the All Blacks. Yeah, I'm probably going to go that 36-0, that pool win against England.
And didn't you mention that you quite like the 35-7 one?
35-7, yeah. Yo, the Brisbane demolition last year.
What else?
Tough to choose.
You know how hard it was for me to
Tough
get down
to
to
choose.
30, okay?
Sure.
That Springboks 1951 in that semi, and I was there for that game. Like, I had to fly.
The Bobby Skinstad show and go
But
to
it took
Horan.
6 hours for us to get from Joburg to Durban because we had to go via Cape Town because of the aeroplanes being hit with lighting, and the match wasn't going to be played. We were going to be out of the World Cup. Like you said, the emotion of all those things. But you look at in terms of intensity, the games, the quality of the games. I mean, I had to get down to 30. You could have picked 50 or 60 of those things. You know, a personal favorite for me, obviously, it doesn't quite rank up there, but it's in the 30, was the Boks 33, Wallabies 31, Bola Conradi. Skinser wins back the kickoff. We're 26-9 up, then we're 31-26 down.
That is a great one, mate.
We kick off the last play of the game. Skinser wins it back. We go on the attack. Bola gets it. Little show, go, pop pass, Van Egrief, boom,
through,
and then he has to kick the conversion, 33-31.
That is a beaut.
There's a wonderful story there about what's his name, Paddy. I've said this many times, but if you haven't heard it, to the people out there, Paddy O'Brien being the referee, and Matt Burke saying to him, as Van Egrief, it's taken forever to line up that kick because we didn't know who wants to take that kick.
Yeah.
And then he showed him to call time on the kick, end the game at 31-all. And Paddy O'Brien is a wonderful character. He said, "My balls are big, mate, but not that big." So yeah, and then I just think, I mean, that Springboks 28-25 against the Lions, Jacques Ferry's try, Morné Stein's kick in the end, just incredible. I mean, we've
Ricky
had some...
January.
Yeah, 30-28 in Dunedin, first time ever.
Yeah.
We just had some incredible games. I would think if I have to go with the 3rd one, it would probably be the 52-10 Mallett's side.
In France.
Just what the quality of the side they played and retired, and the quality of game that they played.
That was a fabulous game.
So I always think of these players of yesteryear, and they go, "Oh, if I was playing in the modern game now, they would be as good." If you look at the Peter Rousseau's at his prime, Brayton Pauls's, you look at Skinstad in that initial part of his career, Rassie Rasmus over those 36 tests, Mark Andrews, Yapi Mulder, Peter Miller, Andre Joubert, Monty. The list is endless. James Small when he first came on the scene. Joos van der Vestes and Farida. We've had some incredible players. So we look at this squad now, 2023 and 2019. And I would say go back and watch those wonderful test matches even from 1995 onwards to actually appreciate how good as teams we've had in terms of South Africa. You know, I give that 3rd one to the 52-10, but the best result that didn't involve a Bok win for me and I was there, fortunately, blessed to be on the beat, 33-26 to the All Blacks to win the series in 96. You had to be there to understand how good they were to beat us. That first 5 minutes, I mean, they sandy stem for about 10 minutes, okay? Frank Bunce always says that all he remembers, he felt like he tackled for 80 minutes.
Yeah, he looked up.
And they scored, and he looked up, and it was 76 minutes to play. He didn't know how they were going to make it. And it was a to and fro game. John Preston came on, kicked a late penalty, and then Zinzambrook with a drop goal that they thought had taken them to 33-26. Safe from defeat, but not safe from not winning the test. And that last 5 minutes, we were on their try line out, scrum, pick up and go. And they were just defending. I mean, the noise in that stadium, everyone willing the box on. And to be there for that victory, especially having a big love for New Zealand and the All Blacks and kind of family heritage there, but knowing the rivalry was outside of the Bokwins, that one ranks right up there for me for any match I've seen. Like I said, the Australian one, even though Australia won, it was more the way the Boks played that day and how brilliant they were. It was just a brilliant test match. So just going through those things was just mind-blowing to just have this appreciation of how wonderful the Springbok brand is, how many incredible players and years we've had, but also there was a dark period. There's a period that nothing makes it into the top 30 because there wasn't anything to make it from.
Correct.
But I think that's why every day I'm just appreciative to still be commentating and talking about rugby in this current guise, back-to-back world champions, rugby championship champions, and having guys like Rassie at the helm, Sia Khaleesi captaining the side, an administration that is sound with Mark Alexander and Rian Oberholzer at the moment. And just life's good in South African rugby.
Long may it continue, mate.
Blitzbokke,
Yeah.
world champion
Yeah,
somehow.
we'll take it.
S under 21s,
Yeah,
coming
in
back
action.
and winning.
Yeah.
Look at our school side, that's good. Just great talent coming through this. Marcus Miller from Paul Jim, 20 plus tries already in the season. Times are good in SA Rugby, man.
Fantastic, mate. We're not short of good players, good coaches. We've got great teams. I mean, we're deserved double world champions. Let's make it 3 in a row. Let's hope that's what
It's
happens.
2027. That's why I say I love my Japanese guys.
Yeah.
They're doing it over there.
Yeah.
We got the URC. We're so competitive there. We'll get competitive in Europe. But the fan base of South Africa, that is what makes us special. And if we aren't arguing with each other, if we aren't passionate about it, well then, as Rassie said as well, then what's the point?
What is the point?
He says he loves it that people get angry. Just don't get personal. Get angry, but don't get personal. I feel like Jerry Springer now. But he would have fitted in well, eh?
Be kind to each other. I think
Be
that's
kind
how
to
he
each
signs
other,
off.
eh? And another thing, Boks by 10.
Boks by 10.
Always.